Hello students, good morning. Yesterday we were discussing about the new international economic order which was formed by the newly independent countries and mostly the G77 countries because they wanted the real control over the resources and wanted world market for their goods to be sold in these markets. Today we will discuss about India and the Cold War. India, as a leader of NAM, played an important role in the ongoing Cold War between the two superpowers. At one level, it took particular care in staying away from the two alliances, and secondly, it raised its voice against the newly decolonized countries becoming part of these alliances. India was in favor of actively intervening in world affairs to soften Cold War rivalries and prevent differences from escalating into full-scale war. During the Cold War, India repeatedly tried to activate those regional and international organizations which were not a part of the alliances led by US and USSR. Non-alignment was not, as some suggest, a noble international cause which had little to do with the India's real interest. A non-aligned posture also served India's interest very directly in at least two ways. We will discuss these ways. Number one is the non-aligned allowed India to take international decisions and stances that served its interest rather than the interests of the superpowers and their allies. Secondly, India was often able to balance one superpower against the other. If India felt ignored or unduly pressurized by one superpower, it could tilt towards the other. Neither alliances system could take India for granted. But India's policy of non-alignment was criticized on a number of counts. For example, India's non-alignment policy was said to be unprincipled. It is said that India often refused to take a firm stand on crucial international issues in the name of pursuing national interest. Secondly, it is suggested that India was inconsistent and took contradictory postures many times. At the one hand, India criticized other members of non-alignment movement in joining alliances, but at the same time, India has signed the Treaty of Friendship in August 1971 with USSR for 20 years. It was regarded by the outsider observers that India has joined the USSR alliance. Indian government viewed was that India needed diplomatic and military support during the Bangladesh crisis, and in any case, the treaty did not stop India from having good relations with other countries, including the United States. Moreover, with the disintegration of the USSR in 1991 and the end of the Cold War in 1991, non-alignment movement lost its effectiveness as an international movement and as the core India's foreign policy. However, the non-alignment contained some core values and enduring ideas. It was based on a recognition that decolonized states share a common historical affiliation and can become a powerful force if they come together. It means that the poor and often very small countries of the world need not to become the followers of any of the big powers. They must have their own foreign policy. They can play an important role in resolving international issues and work in order to redress existing inequalities. So, in this way, in the non-alignment movement, when it slowed down after the disintegration of the USSR in 1991, the importance of non-alignment also decreased, and the newly independent countries, they came together. They have their own organizations, like you have read about SAARC, ASEAN. These are the important organizations formed by these Southeast Asian countries and Northeast Asian countries, so that they can unite together, cooperate together for their benefit and development. So with this, we come to the end of the first lesson. Now I will give you some homework to be done. Thank you.